Outdoor Radio. I'm here with Doug that creates our newsletter this week. He's done a great job. Doug, give us the highlights on the newsletter this week.
Well, first off, last week you had Josh Bertrand on the radio as a call-in, and this was just a highlight for him. He did great in that Juan Bass tournament. Super. I hope he's on the show here soon. He's a good guy.
We're going to do a follow-up. We've got Matt Shura is up there on the Wild West trail on Mojave, which is where Josh did a good job up there. 62 pounds over 3 days of competition, and wow, super job, big paycheck, and nice Bass Cat boat, I understand, is coming his way. So yeah, we'll do a follow-up. I want to try to get he and Matt in here next week, and they can compare notes on what happened at Mojave, a.k.a. Blowhovie. I know the wind's always blowing, and they had a big squall up there yesterday, and from what I understand, they had about 4 hours to fish. So we'll follow that up next week. So what else you got on national news?
Okay, in national news, highlights in Missouri, one of the biggest archery bucks ever taken in Missouri gets a green card score, and that was at 254 3/8 with 36 scoreable points.
Wow.
Nice buck. In Minnesota, this is kind of cool. The title of the article was "What Deer Hunters Can Expect This Season," but what was really neat is they have an interactive deer map out there that I just couldn't believe what I was looking at. There's a lot of good information on that deer map. You'd have to go there in order to figure or to see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
In Idaho, the Fish and Game received multiple reports of a mountain lion in Boise. Now, what was interesting about this, and I've been to Boise, I've been downtown, I know what that river looks like, the Boise River. And there were these mountain lions run along that river. They're not that far away from the nearest mountain range. So that's kind of scary when you think about it. Also in Idaho, their new record hybrid trout was caught, 36 inches long, on October 4th. Amazing fish.
Yeah, wow. That was a rainbow cutthroat hybrid.
Yes. Yep. Cool fish.
Amazing fish.
Yeah, and I know you're probably into this more than I am, but there was a article about what's the best broadhead, and this was interesting from the standpoint that it cut a 1-inch hole through an animal. A 1-inch hole.
Oh yeah.
This is one nasty arrow tip. Jeez. Excuse me. In the newsletter as well, there's an update on our reservoirs, Lake Mead, Lake Powell. Things are kind of holding, but that doesn't mean it's great. They're way below where they should be, but we haven't lost any in the last month or so. So that's good news.
Yeah.
Wyoming. This made news all over the country. 2 college wrestlers mauled in a surprise grizzly attack in Wyoming. This was unbelievable. The one injury, guys named Cummings, required 60 staples and plastic surgery around his face and head, and multiple sutures in his left arm, right hand, and both legs. The other guy, Lowry, suffered a severe compound fracture in his left forearm and also required sutures for lacerations in his back, shoulders, and right leg.
I saw the national news release on that in the interview with, I believe it was Tucker Carlson, and it was a good interview, very compelling, and the guest that we had on the radio show here, Chris Rich from AZ Fly Shop, and his manager, a.k.a. Bear Trap. They have a guy working for them that knows these guys. They're buddies, so they're going to try to hook up for next Sunday's show and interview these chaps.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. Following up on that, there was that walleye tournament where
Yes.
there was a cheating scandal going on. The two guys involved have been arraigned, but their trial has not been set yet that I can read. But what's interesting here is both of them can get a year in prison and a $2,500 fine on each of the three felonies. These guys are going to be penalized big time.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that deservedly so. It should have never been. That should have never happened. Let's move it on down. The Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms is blasting Joe Biden and Democrats for rushing to exploit the mass shooting tragedy, the one in North Carolina, by calling for a ban on so-called assault weapons, and get this, when the suspect used a shotgun. So, it's just one more bite they're trying to take out of our right to keep and bear arms, Don.
Well,
That's what it
Doug,
amounts to.
that's what they do.
Yeah.
They're called modern sporting rifles, not assault rifles. There's nothing related to assault anything. They're modern sporting rifles. Despite where they came from, they've been converted to sporting use in a lot of cases. And that's just where the Dems go. They don't want us to have anything. And I say to them, okay, you don't want us to have anything? Let's take away your budgets for your own personal security, okay? Let's take all your handguns, and you can be unarmed just like us. Up until that time, sit down, shut up, and we'll move on.
Well, this is where the president is again revealed. They will use any tragedy to promote their agenda.
Well,
I mean, what it boils down to.
This is the guy that thinks it's an AK-15 or an AR-47. Okay, so he doesn't have a clue what he's talking about.
Oh, I agree.
And I suggest that the rest of the Dems that are pushing these bans, they don't know their butt from a hot rock to begin with.
Yeah. Very true, Don. Very true. That's it on the newsletter.
Well, that's a fine job. Look, if you guys haven't signed up for the newsletter, you may do that at huntingfishing.com. Go to news, do the pull down, hit the pull down menu, and you'll be able to sign up for Doug's newsletter. Doing a great job for us. Doug, thank you so much. We'll do this again next week. Hey, Don McDowell.